All right, we're back live. This video is going to be interesting. This video could be short or this video could be very long. I don't really have any notes, just a biography on the shooter or a little bit of her history on the YouTube shooter. But that's a news topic, but we'll go deeper into go addictions and go addicts, motivational speaking, and touch on spirituality, combine it all up in a one big gumbo for this video. So this should be a very interesting video. I can't tell you how it's going to end up. Maybe that depends on how you interact on this Facebook Live video. If you're watching this on the YouTube, again, you should like and click turn on all notifications and click the like button and follow for when we go live on Facebook if you're watching the re-upload on the YouTube channel, so I can engage with you all more, and we can go back and forth and discuss our opinions, our viewpoints. You guys can tell me what you think, different things like that. So this is not news, but maybe my perspective may be news. Maybe it may be something different than what you've heard before. Now, the shooting that happened yesterday, I called it as far as that it was a YouTube creator because I'm a YouTube creator. So I understand the frustration in trying to create a YouTube, create your own brand, your own, different things like that off of YouTube. And I put, before they announced who or what the shooter was, I said it's probably a YouTube creator because of that damn algorithm that they keep changing, different things like that. So that was the first thing. Now, she's accordingly her religious belief, she's Iranian, and she's a part of the Baha'i religion, Baha apostrophe I, if I'm probably mispronouncing. Now, I don't know much about the religion, but what I do know is that they basically see all religions as one. And there was a great documentary. I was on YouTube. I can't remember who did it. I don't know if it was the BBC, but they said that it was called The World's Greatest Religions. It was like they did a documentary, short, like 15, 20-minute pieces on 80 religions around the world. And I think it was a little short, kind of like maybe she's in her 40s, and this woman, and I think she was a part of this same religion. And the woman who did the shooting, she's a vegan, she's an animal rights person, different things like that. And I think that's a part of the religion also. But the lady in this documentary, I could be wrong, but in the documentary, they didn't want to kill anything. Like, this person is a vegan. And she swept the floor every time she was about to sit down because she didn't want to kill a fly. And that kind of always stuck out with me before, because I've seen stuff like, I watch anything as far as like religious or spiritual, documentaries or read up on it, different things like that. So it wasn't foreign to not, because I don't eat meat, different things like that. So it's not like it was completely foreign, but it was the humility and from the people that I've seen that practice this religion, especially that girl just sweeping the floor, before you sit down every time. She had a little pocket dustpan that she just swept down before, she sat down. So that was very interesting. Now, the shooter's name is Nasim Aghdam. She's Iranian. And they still don't know what caused her to do it, but she is a YouTube creator. Her dad said that he warned the police, and that basically she was mad that I guess she stopped making money at Facebook. She had claimed that she accused him of discriminating for filtering her content from Facebook. And she just had videos on, she has a Facebook page, different things like that. So she's an activist. She's out in the community doing different things like that. And to me, what I take from this is an issue that I've been wanting to touch on a lot is the dangers of goal addictions. And in this social media age, how we want to be validated, we want to be accepted by society, and it's very dangerous. And I think, some people say, well, you need some kind of self-acceptance. And I heard, people give these crazy stories to try and justify things. Like, I think they said in one village, someone had killed someone or something. And when they got out of jail, nobody in the village had spoke to this person, and the person ended up committing suicide because they didn't have the validation. Like, so, it's just these examples of us needing to be validated, and that doesn't really compare to, I think, Western society and Western culture, because the validation that we want, it's not really, and I'm just saying generally, like the social media and stuff, is really superficial. It's not based on a deep understanding of someone, or how that person feels, things that person may be going through, different things like that. It's based on a like a like does not really, it doesn't really tell you anything. It just tells you the person liked it, but what does that really do for you? Does that mean the person understands you? Do they care about you? Do they care about what you go through to create your content, the money, the time, the energy, the resources, the videos that don't get put out, the videos that you can't put out, the videos that you had to do over and over and over, like all of these things. And, and the people that do support and that do really genuinely, especially this channel, I appreciate it. But I'm just saying in general for this story, I just think, I don't think she was in danger of being homeless or poor or different things like that. She didn't want to be censored. She has the activism spirit. So she didn't want to be censored, but it's just, you have to really put things in perspective. This is still a corporate entity, and, it's unfortunate because to me, it almost kind of feels like she committed suicide, but just taking it out on the people, usually, and it's kind of hypocritical. In a way, it doesn't really make sense, because she believes in all religions. She believes all religions are one. She believes in not killing animals and then kill people. And that doesn't really help the stereotype that people who don't eat meat care about not harming animals more than not harming people. So that doesn't help that. But it's and a lot of this stuff on social media, it's a big rise of motivational speaking, and everybody has the right answer, and everybody's going to push you and motivate you to success, and just do what I did, and you got to be this and you got to be that. And that's really a bunch of BS at the end of the day, because they'll tell you, and it's how it's promoted and how it's done. It's like these people are chosen, but it's promoted like they did it all on their own. But then each one of them will go and tell you that there's not one way to be successful. There's not one blueprint to be successful. There's not one set way or one set blueprint or instructions or path to success. So how can you say that, but then at the same time say, well, you got to do hard work and this and that? Like, everybody that's successful didn't work hard, and everybody that worked hard is not successful. And people have to be careful to, the dangers of when you want to be accepted. Now, it's one thing, you want to have your voice, you want to have some sort of impact on the community and people of like minds and, different things like that. And that's understandable. But you have to balance you wanting to have the impact versus how much it's going to affect your daily life, your mental life. And you see that with a lot of these motivational speakers and a lot of these people who preach and tell you just work hard and this is how I became a millionaire and billionaire and all of this stuff. Like but then they'll say it's not one path to success. There's no set of rules, and that's just so hypocritical. And people get caught up in the materialism of what we deem is success. The materialism of nice cars and beautiful women, or in every like the motivational speaking, the workout videos. It's like they take advantage of every viewer's insecurity in these videos. Like if you're working out, it'd be a nice guy. A guy with a nice body, and then there's women always around them working out. And it's like, okay, you subconsciously, they want you to associate working out with getting nice women. Or if it's someone doing motivational speaking, they have a nice car or nice money. And it's like, well, if you listen to me, you'll get this. And it's kind of the same thing you can even say in rap videos to a certain extent, like the power of suggestion. The power of suggestion, which is what this kind of all boils down to. And I think with this YouTube shooter, she just, you want to make an impact. You feel small and you have an opportunity to make an impact. If you don't really know how to balance it and, just be content to a certain extent, but still wanting to be ambitious and content at the same time. That's a very thin line because it takes a lot of work to, like for this channel, for example, I think I have over 600 videos on the YouTube channel and on this Facebook channel. I have about 600 videos, and I started December 2015. So, it's there's people with way less videos, way more millions of views, way less relevant content. There's no gimmicks in my videos, and I'm here going live, but I actually go out into communities. I go out. That's gas money. That's a lot of time and energy that it takes, and the real stuff isn't really ever appreciated, especially it seems like the more and more time goes on, things are becoming diluted. And now it's like you got to have a certain personality, a certain charisma, a certain, like, in every corner, it's like you have to, the style is always more important than the substance. When it comes to rapping, the style is more important than the substance. When it comes to leaders, the style is more important than the substance. Even when it comes to sports, we focus on, and we always focusing on dribbling more than, it's still 2 points, no matter however you score it. So, and I talked about this before, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, if they weren't, like, we remember them for what they did. We don't remember them for their style or charisma or them using slang or anything like that. And, yes, you have to keep people's attention, and that is a skill. I'm not denying that. But it just seems like the more and more that society gets into technology and social media, we're going to go away from what's real and we understand people want to be entertained. People don't want to be reminded of how terrible things are all the time. So we understand, like, certain videos and a lot of videos may get views and stuff. But the reason I'm able to do almost half a thousand videos in less than a few years is because I care about the content. I care about the community. I'm not doing this for likes. I'm not doing this for whatever you want to say, fame or anything. So that's just my opinion as a YouTube creator, such as, like this person who did the shooting at the YouTube headquarters. I just feel like, when you want to create an impact and use your creativity, you have to, it's just a very weird place, but it plays out in every avenue of life, because no matter what you do, whatever your passion is, you want to give 100%, but you can't be caught up into the results. And that's where spirituality comes in. And that's why, and that is not an easy thing. I'll be the first to admit that, you're like, whoa, I spent a month or I spent a couple weeks and didn't get any sleep to do and edit this video, and it didn't get a lot of views, not even like 100 views. And I'm like, this is like groundbreaking stuff, but that's just what happens. And you do a video in like 20, 30 minutes and it gets a lot of views. So it's kind of, you just gotta, whatever happens, you can't be attached to the results. And I think that's, like I said, the spirituality is very ironic that for her to embrace a spiritual religion and all religions, that she would get caught up in, the Maya, the illusion of social media, the Maya, the illusion of, validation and, human validation. If like they say, only God can judge you, only, so I think just focusing on that, keeping that in mind and not worrying about the people, but God can't give you, like, if God likes something, it's not going to show up on Facebook and say God, like his or her name is not going to show up. So it's just a very tough battle. I understand it. I mean, I'm not going to do anything to YouTube, but it's just, you understand the frustration. A lot of people lost money when they did the demonetization. I haven't made anything off of YouTube or Facebook because I want to have freedom. I like my freedom of speech. So when I see this shooting, I see the spirituality and the the problem of being addicted to goals, and how that is a problem in our society. So when we look at things, we can't just look at them and for face value, like, because everybody has some sort of addiction, and more and more, it's like the gap between the rich and poor is getting bigger and bigger. So people are gonna look for more motivation, more hope, more, you know what I mean? So when I see these videos of people acting like it's so easy to, and you just gotta do, I don't want to say names in particular, but it's just in general, everybody. Motivation, I mean, it's good every now and then, but they should be honest and say, like, what I'm telling you, it might or might not work. It doesn't really affect you. Like, maybe it's just a reminder or something to keep doing what you're doing, but there's no guarantee, and you shouldn't be doing it to make it anyway. And it's just to have an entire industry on being successful but at the same time, when I started, like, I went to film school in 2006, 2007, and this is before YouTube. So I can say, like, I wanted to have an impact doing video before social media, before YouTube. So I understand. I wasn't born with YouTube. I understand, like, okay, I had to pay for a camera for, $800 to $1,000 for a decent camera, and there was no social media to upload it to. And that's a sacrifice that used to have to be made with famous film directors. They would charge a camera, a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 camera, and just keep doing movies until they could pay it off or finally got a movie, or something to pay it off with. So I understand, the benefit of YouTube to a certain extent, but just like I said, the dangers of being a go addict, because we understand especially if you're a person of color, like, you don't control society, as far as we don't control any industries. We don't own any industries. So if you're a person of color, you have to work, like, especially if it's someone white, but even if it's someone black with the white mentality, if they're not really addressing, like, well, you're black and you're gonna have to work harder, is really some BS. But they'll tell you nobody's gonna care about you, nobody cares about your problems, and that's true. But it's gonna be twice as hard if you're a person of color, and people of color do not control the end result. So if your goal is to get something done, and you have to do whatever you have to do to get it, 9 times out of 10, there's going to be someone that is not a person of color to open that door for you to get that goal. So how relevant, like, this person is Iranian. How many people from Iran or even from the Middle East are in control or work at YouTube? And so it's a very dangerous game, and you have to really, like, we understand as a person of color, if you're from the inner city, you understand what you're up against. You understand, like, yes, it's a good platform, but you can't really say what you want to say all the time. If depending on how you feel, that depends on the person. But it's not like it's completely open for you to say what you really want to say. And that's why being a go addict is dangerous, because you don't have really any in control. And these motivational speakers, they're letting you think you control your destiny. You control, you know what I mean? Like, but it's not really, you don't control it. You control what you can do, but you don't control the end result as far as the destination of that goal. And even we can go back, that's just the world view of it. If you want to get, like, she believes in all these religions, if you want to get spiritual religious with it, the saying goes, man plans and God laughs. So if you want to plan it, God is going to laugh and do whatever God does at the end anyway. So it's just, now more than ever, we have the ability to have an impact on people, on society. How sustainable the impact is, I think, is not really there, because I think the impact is usually short term, but it's still an impact nevertheless. And people, some people are born just to, everyone is not born to work in a factory like our relatives did, 3, 4, 5 decades ago. So for some of us, like my grandfather, perfect example, my mom told me he was a story when he was in school, and he had a camera or something, and the teacher told him, you're black, you'll never you'll never be this, or you'll never be a teacher or something, like forget about it. Like you're never gonna do that. And he was a little kid in school. Like, so if a teacher told you that today, they would be fired. So it's a different age and time, and maybe our ancestors are living through us in a way for us to get these things done, or to be impactful on society, to do the things that they couldn't do. But I think this is it's a sad story when anyone dies. But YouTube creator at the YouTube headquarters, that's pretty crazy. Samuel Kamani says, we're in the information age. As Black folks, we are finding out which info is. That's very, very true. The discernment is going to be very, very key in this age. And I love that comment. Let me like that comment. And I feel that way a lot, because a lot of us, I couldn't do a video or a story on everything, but I do things that I feel are relevant. And usually something that's relevant is going to not be popular some of the time, maybe half the time, because the spin that you're going to get with this story is some anti-gun stuff, or some Second Amendment stuff, or maybe it's a false flag, or maybe YouTube was doing this because they were losing to Facebook or something, so they staged this, or, however kind of spin they'll get on it. But to me, the bigger picture is she felt her freedom of speech was being discriminated against, and she was a goal addict. She seemed very ambitious. She was a vegan. She was an animal rights activist. She believed in all religions. So it's just the belief is the crucial need facing humanity is to find a unifying vision of the future of society and of the nature and purpose of life. So that's what her religion says on the website. A unifying vision of the future of society and of nature and purpose of life. And you can't have that vision if you're a goal addict. So that's why I care about everybody that watches this channel, all my viewers. That's why I did the video on my blue blocking glasses. That's only $10. That will keep your body producing melatonin. Because when you're watching my videos, if you're watching them at night, or any videos, the blue light is going to shut off the production of melatonin. So I understand people have lives, people have to provide for their family. So that's why the spin I chose to talk about also was just people being goal addicts, and, taking time out for family, and just the work-life balance, as they say, like trying to, but still wanting to pursue your passion and your goals. Because it's a lot to it. Back to the motivation people, they will say, as I was saying earlier about our parents and grandfathers or whatever working in factories, more than ever, you can do what you want to do, and that's true, but you don't want to get sick. You don't want to be sick trying to do things. You don't want to be, your health comes first, your health and your peace of mind. So just, whatever, if you're watching this, whatever you're doing as far as your craft or anything, just be mindful not to sacrifice your health, your well-being, your mental state, just to provide and just for security, because security is really a deception. I don't think security really exists. Security is like temporary, and you don't really have any control of that. So I think right now, humanity, we're at a weird state where we have so much control, but we don't realize how much we don't control at the same time. And you can do the best. You can do what you feel is the best. Like for her, she could have done what she felt was the best content, and she was on a TV show and different things like that. It says she was on mainstream TV, but you just have to be content with whatever you do. And I'm telling you, if you get trapped into this goal addict stuff, and you have to provide, and because a lot of that, that this is relatable to the Black community, the being the man, the provider, which is good, which is great. But at the same time, everybody want to be a baller. Everybody want to, be the chief. Not enough Indians. Everybody wants to be a boss. I'm a boss. Like this is a prevalent mentality in our community. It just may play out in a different form, but goal addiction is prevalent in our community, and in a way it should. Because I'm kind of staying neutral, but I'm trying to make my point, because we've been systematically oppressed in our community. So it's only natural that we do have goals. But if we're talking about goals as being a baller and being a boss, or goals as putting money back into our community, recirculating money into our community, opening businesses, teaching our children, opening our own home schools, having our own grocery stores, growing our own food, that is being in control to the most extent that you can, and just letting things happen. So that's my take on the YouTube shooting. You can tell me what you think. You don't care. I don't know. I think the point in seeing things is just seeing, I really do believe in the 6 degrees of separation. I think we should be able to see if something happens in a basement in Tibet, some kind of way, it may affect us. It may affect what's going on. But this YouTube shooting, people, I'm going to upload this to YouTube. And I'm a YouTube creator, so this definitely, I definitely can relate somewhat to this story, because before they said she was a YouTube creator, I called it. I said that damn algorithm is probably a YouTube creator, and go and find out it is. Because, and it's not just YouTube, but as you may know, like, you can only make your impact can only go so far. So it's not like it's designed for Black people to make, or any oppressed people in the world, for them to make the biggest impact that they can. You know what I mean? Like the freedom of speech, or the hate speech, or, what's deemed relevant or trending will only get a certain amount of views versus stuff that I might do on gentrification. But if I wanted to do a video on current topics every day, and like, I get decent views on those, but it's like, that's not really what my passion is. I don't want to talk about what someone else is talking about. That's not really news. This is a news channel. News it's supposed to be something you don't know, or something to enlighten you or to inform you. But if I'm talking about what everyone else is talking about, it's not really news, because you already know what happened. Now, if I give you a different spin, which is goal addiction and spirituality, that's at least somewhat different. You know what I mean? Like, it may just give you a different perspective, but you kind of have to talk about current topics to get views. But what's current topics is always not the most relevant. And that's very, very difficult. Like the stuff that I do on the environmental issues are very, I think I maybe have a couple views on the environmental video. And that's if you follow the timeline on Facebook, environmental issues affect people of color, Black and brown people, more than anybody else. Air pollution is the #1 killer. I put that article out. Air pollution kills more people than wars, obesity, cancer combined. But like they say, if it bleeds, it leads. If it's not a police shooting, or if it's not Donald Trump or something that's overtly racist, it's not going to get the views. So the deeper, that's the deeper issue of this, besides us being addicted to goals, is that our attention span is creating superficial news. It's creating superficial information. And as the person, Samuel Kamani, said, we got to find out which information is relevant. And that's why, like, on my YouTube banner, I says independent thinkers only. I don't want people who are the average thinkers to watch this channel. This channel is meant to be a hub of people, and they don't like-minded, only in that they are not afraid to think independently, and it's okay to disagree. So, and that's another thing. We're afraid to disagree with each other. It's like we become so sensitive. If one person does one thing we don't like, we immediately write them off. So I'm not going to get too much into that. But again, the short attention spans, the inability to really, when people read the newspaper, they had to really read and different things like that. And Don Thomas says, I can talk about health, for instance, heart disease, high blood pressure, natural remedies that are helping. How do you think that relates? I will talk about that. Just let me know, how does that relate to this? But as far as the attention spans of us, and because it's all related. So you have a generation where YouTube, people are only know about YouTube, right? And that is their main source of content information. Then you have the videos that generally get the most views of YouTube are current events. But the videos that are current events are never really relevant. Like, the majority of views are never really relevant. Be honest with yourself. If you have a YouTube channel, how much and I'm not talking about the entertainment stuff, but I'm saying, like, how many people are really giving you, like, are really out there? Like, really, really out there. Because I'm really, really out here. I'm really, really, wherever you, like, if you go to my YouTube channel, I've been to everywhere in the city of Cleveland for the most part. So the anniversary is coming up. When the Facebook killings happened, I went to where the Facebook killings happened. I spoke to the residents there, the people that saw him speed away after shooting the old man, that heard it. We spoke to everyone out there. And what really bothered me was when I put the video up, people were telling me he didn't die. It was a hoax. He's not dead. And I'm like, I went there. I live here. I spoke to these people. I saw several of his children crying. His younger son, his oldest son, like, it's in the video. These are his children. They're never going to see him again. We interviewed the person that saw him last, whose house that he left. We interviewed the last person that saw him. And people that live hundreds and thousands of miles away, they're trying to tell me, well, the blood splattered this way on his stomach, so he didn't really get shot. So it's like, how that's what, when people are fixated on current events, and they don't really give credibility. Like, you can't be more credible than the person that's there, unless you're like a forensic person or something like that. It's kind of taking out the common sense of things and news and different things like that. Now, if people want to speculate, that's different. But unless you're like a blood splatter, a forensic authority, There's no way possible you could be living in California or Texas and tell me what really happened in Cleveland, and you weren't even there, and you don't know anyone that was there. And when I had shared the video, there were people from Cleveland. They were saying, they were posting comments, and they were saying, well, he died, and why? What are y'all talking about? So that's another really big problem. But I don't want to get on a tangent, get too deep on that video. I'm just saying, that's her frustration came from not being able to get views, not being able to get monetized for your, for your creativity, for whatever you were doing. And, I don't know how meaningful it was, but if she's a vegan, if she believes in all religions, if she's trying to find a unifying vision of the future, I don't think she was just doing any bull crap. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Now, Don Thomas says about health, heart disease, high blood pressure. Well, if that relates to goal addiction, I mean, pressure will definitely lead to high blood pressure, especially if you're not eating right. And, heart disease, we have a lot of rappers, a lot of black males that died prematurely from heart disease. Craig Mack, I think he just died from heart disease, and I think he was 46. And I just did the video on gentrification causing displacement by way of gentrification causes more emergency visits, causes more mental ill cases. So this thing of white supremacy or whatever you want to call it, it has an effect on our psychological, emotional well-being, and even the internet. As I put out, they're hiding all of this information on how Wi-Fi radiation affects you. It changes your DNA cells. It affects your nervous system. So, but they suppressed this information for over 30 years. I'm only 32 years old. So they've been probably suppressing this information before I was born, and it's just now coming out. And to me, that's news, but whoever else, whatever else kind of news you watch that's not really, even if it's mainstream news, see if they talk about that 5G wireless stuff. Because everyone is using the internet. Everyone has I know someone that just got a Wi-Fi toothbrush. Bluetooth toothbrush. You got the Bluetooth headphones. The cars are Bluetooth. They're going to be self-driven. Everything is going to run off this internet and, Wi-Fi radiation. So, and they're cutting down trees and forests. But see if you see this is trending, then ask yourself, well, what is wrong with society as to why something that's going to affect everyone is not relevant information? Because back to the environmental racism and the environmental videos I did, that environment, that toxic dump that was in a 99% black neighborhood, there was a 109-year-old lady who spent the last few months of her life, the last few years of her life with that dump, literally behind her backyard. And we filmed it when there was an avalanche. You could hear it, an avalanche of debris coming down, and it sounded like the boulder off an Indiana Jones movie or something. It was crazy. It was so big, the camera, you have to turn your volume down. It was so loud and noisy. And this lady is 109 years old. And this is in the city with black mayor, black city council. So, and it's 99% black city. But this is an issue that affects black people. And that's the thing. Environmental, it affects everybody. Toxic fumes and the diesel fuel is a carcinogen, which means it's cancer causing. And the World Health Organization said Wi-Fi radiation is a carcinogen. So how can something that, because Wi-Fi radiation and diesel fuel is not going to say, well, this is a black male we only kill black women, or this is a black woman, we only kill black males, or this is a young child, we're not going to kill them. No, the radiation is going to affect black children more because their brains and their body is still developing. Just like the environmental stuff, it's going to affect their lungs and their bloodstream more because they're still growing. So these issues, it doesn't discriminate, even though the environmental racism is going to affect black people more. So it's just, that's what this channel is. It's just, we have to make relevant information really relevant and not just sweep it under the rug. So the more people share, the more people see these videos and share and get the word out, we can begin to make real relevant information relevant. Everything isn't always going to be about how much money or building Black Wall Street or stopping police, violence. We've touched on all those topics, but to just get put in that small of a box is really detrimental because there's so many other issues. Gentrification. To me, gentrification is the number one issue. Gentrification is more important than the police shootings. It's more important than economics because it ties into all those issues. When crime goes down, whether it's through police brutality or through a lot of arrests or drug sweeps, the property values only can go up when crime goes down. So everything is, to me, is all related to gentrification in a way. That's why I have at least, I think, almost 10 videos on gentrification. But that's just my take on the YouTube shooter, gold addicts, spirituality, natural remedies. Back to Dawn Thomas's question, I would advise people to look into Chinese medicine and herbs, because me personally, I feel like with the information, back to Samuel Kamani's comment, relevant information that is available is how you can try and self-diagnose yourself. And I think if you have decent insurance, what you should do is, because I put a video out on how I had a level 6 vitamin D, which is, I thought I was dead, basically. And anything lower than like a 15 is really bad, and I was at a 6 for like a year or so while I was still doing this channel. So I was making a lot of sacrifices just to put out content that I was, I felt was relevant, that could help people. And blood work, get your blood levels checked out, get blood work done. That is one of the few benefits I think that a hospital or something can give you. Get your vitamin D level checked out, your calcium, your magnesium levels checked out, your B12 levels checked out. Get your liver tested, your adrenals, and your thyroid. And for me, what I do, I have a vegetarian diet. And what I follow is I input everything that I eat every day the past few weeks into Chronometer. Chronometer. And Chronometer is basically, you can input the food, it'll tell you how much you use, how much minerals, nutrients, fats, carbs that you get per day. So generally, as far as supplements, I take a 5,000 unit D3 by Sports Research. I take 6 spirulina tablets, the Hawaiian tablets. I take a calcium magnesium pill that helps you go to sleep, and choline. Choline is good for the liver because and the potassium. Most people are potassium deficient, and potassium, that relates to high heart disease and blood pressure, because the potassium will soften the arteries, and if you have clogged arteries, you're going to have heart disease. If you have high blood pressure, that means your arteries is pumping. It's trying too hard to pump. But if you have the potassium will make it easier for your blood pressure to pump. And the recommended, because my chronometer is up, I think the recommended potassium is like 5,000 milligrams a day. And I guarantee you nobody on here is eating. I got 4,000 followers. I don't think maybe 1%, and that's me being nice. I don't think 1% of people are getting 4,000 milligrams of potassium. That's basically 7 cups a day. Because I've been doing I'm crazy, so I've been doing a keto vegan diet. I drink these. Yeah, I've been vegetarian since 2009. I just drink the spring water from Whole Foods, the dollar water. But I actually have right here is aloe vera juice. I try and drink a couple times out the week. So, but I've been doing a keto vegan diet for the past 2 months. And distilled water is good too. So I've only been eating 1 meal a day though. This week I've been trying that, and that's been really good because I've had insulin issues. And the most important thing I can recommend for people is to cut out carbs and eat more fat. And that is what the keto diet is. A lot of people they just show you like bacon and steak and meat, but you can do the keto diet, vegan, vegetarian. I've been doing it since late January. So, and I'm getting a lot better, but and that's another thing. When I did the radiation stuff, they were suppressing the radiation, how radiation was affecting people on their cell phones since the 80s. In the 90s, it came out recently, but in the 90s, they just found out now that in the 90s, they paid off nutritionists to basically make fat the culprit and to make sugar okay. But really sugar, I'm telling you, sugar is the devil. Sugar is, just look it up. It's a New York Times article. I've posted the article here, but it's probably too far way down on the timeline. But the sugar, the carbs is what killing you. And it's an easy marketing pitch to just sell, to say, well, fat is going to make you fat. But if you cut out bread, all those carbs, I'm telling you, especially cut out sugar, you will see a difference. I guarantee it. You can take my word for that. You will see a difference. And a secret that I'll give the viewers is I use rhodiola, RHODIOLA, and that's an adaptogen, and it's real good for your lungs for deep breathing, and it's real good for concentration and focus. And the monks and the Buddhist monks is actually native to Tibet, and like the Buddhist monks would use it to meditate and different things like that. So that's the tea. That's the tea that I try and make every day. Another thing I can recommend is for $6, you can get iodine. It's iodine drops, and it has 2 milligrams of kelp in it. The iodine is one of the most, because the reason our food, like we know about the GMOs and different things like that, but the reason our foods, they don't have the same soil, and the minerals from the dirt and stuff is depleted. It's either being sprayed or it's just not as nutrient rich as it used to be. So the iodine is essential. In Japan, Japan has the highest life expectancy, and the women in Japan, they have the lowest rate of breast cancer because iodine helps with breast cancer. And I think they get 12 milligrams of iodine a day, which a lot of people say is way too high. But the drops, I think the drops for $6, it has 1,400 servings, which is meaning it's going to last you 1,400 days for only $6. And you only need one drop. I do about 4 drops to get about close to 1 milligram because it's 150 micrograms in one drop. So 1,000 micrograms will give you 1 milligram. But in Japan, the women get 12 milligrams. So they're getting 12,000 micrograms. So, but iodine, you can look that up, research it yourself. Iodine is overlooked. It'll help you. It's important for your metabolic function and for your brain health. And Samuel Kamani says, and make breakfast king. I stopped eating breakfast this week. It's working because every time you eat, your body releases insulin. So what I do is I try to wait till 2 o'clock to eat, and then I try to have my last meal around 8 or whatever I put in my body around 8, because it's basically intermittent fasting. So when your body gets to 18, like 12, 13, 14, 15, about 14 to 18 hours of intermittent fasting, it goes into autophagy, it re-heals itself. Because I had sleeping issues, I couldn't sleep. It was bad. But since I've done a vegan keto diet and intermittent fasting, I know that's a weird combination, but that's what's been working for me. Another secret, I'm giving y'all a lot of gems, man, for real, for real. Another one, and I need to do a video on it, I wanted to, is golden milk. I make my own golden milk. Because it was like a month last year, I couldn't sleep for nothing. I was still doing videos though, but I couldn't sleep. And it's an old Indian remedy, and it's coconut or almond milk. You can use coconut milk, almond milk. I use almond milk, turmeric. Now, turmeric only works when it's because turmeric is fat soluble, so you got to have it fat. Now, the almond milk or coconut milk may have a little fat, but you might want to put like half a teaspoon of coconut oil in it. So almond milk, turmeric, you need a fat, or you can use black pepper too, or black pepper. I use black pepper and with the turmeric, cardamom seeds. I like the seeds. I use a mortar and I crush it and I put the seeds in it. I like it better than just the seasoning stuff, because the seeds, if it's packed in the seed, it's going to be more potent. So almond milk, turmeric, black pepper, cardamom, cinnamon, and there's an Indian herb called shatavari. I go to the Chinese plaza here, and you can get shatavari. It's very good for women and men. And I'm telling you that you good. I gotten the best sleep I got in a couple years. I drink it every night religiously. I make it every night. And if you drink that, that will help you sleep. Because if you're not sleeping and you have a health issue, your body's going to take a longer time to repair. So I'm telling you, I'll say it one more time. Almond milk, turmeric, black pepper, cardamom, cinnamon, and you get a shot. It's an herb called shatavari. SHATAVRI. I think I spelled it right. Shatavari. It's an Indian herb. I get the powder and you just stir it up. And my almond, since I'm doing keto, my almond milk is unsweetened, but I use stevia drops, which has a low glycemic, it's low on the glycemic index. So I guarantee, I just gave y'all the, I'm going to do the recap. I gave you the recipe for the milk. The iodine drops for $6. I mean, you can, this stuff will change your life. I'm telling you, this stuff will change your life. And the drops are only $6. You can get all those herbs and stuff for the tea and the drops, and maybe like one of the supplements I mentioned for like maybe under $20. And this stuff is life changing. And the doctors are not gonna tell you. But like I said, I did the video on how my vitamin D levels were low. And that's another thing. Like we were brought here to America against our will, and in Cleveland we have, I think they said Cleveland and Pittsburgh have the least sunniest days of the year. So that we're not getting any vitamin D, and vitamin D leads to depression. It leads to all kinds of issues if you don't have enough. And you know, they recommend at least a 30. You have a 30, but you want to shoot really for like 40, 50, 60, let's say. But again, you want to get your vitamin D level checked out, especially if you live like in the Midwest or the East Coast or the North or anything. Get your vitamin D levels checked out. Get blood work done. Get your B12 level checked out. Yeah. Yeah, like yesterday, it was thundering and lightning. She says they're controlling the weather. It was thundering and lightning. And today it's flaky snowing, like it's almost trying to snow. Like it never used to snow. And then the day before it was thundering and lightning. That was unheard of from when I remember. So get the supplements, make the tea, get the iodine drops for $6. Oh, very important. If you get the iodine drops, because I eat half a cup of sunflower seeds a day. So if you get the iodine drops, you can get a pack of Brazil nuts for $7. You can eat one Brazil nuts. That will give you enough selenium, because iodine and selenium, they have to work together. So it's just like $6 or something. You get the iodine drops, and $6 for $7 for Brazilian nuts or selenium. I would rather you get Brazilian nuts or half a cup a day of sunflower seeds rather than a selenium supplement, just so you're getting it natural. Because like I said, I put all this stuff in a chronometer, and I'm getting my calcium, copper, iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, sodium, zinc, vitamin A, C, D, E, K, B1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 12. I'm getting all of this stuff and all the different proteins just from basically one meal a day and a couple supplements. So I use this because I don't eat meat. I only eat one meatless product. And I use flats, Spectrum flaxseed. You have to make sure the flaxseed is grounded. Hemp seeds. And Sun Warrior protein. So that's it. That's a lot for y'all to chew on, no pun intended. But this is the wrap up of the YouTube shooter, goal addictions and spirituality, and the Matrix, how, they want us to be addicted to goals. And really, being addicted to goals, it serves their purpose more than it serves ours when you think about it. And the spirituality, and Don Thomas asked me to speak about health, and I gave away a lot of my health regimen notes that have changed my life, and hopefully they'll change yours. So that's all I have for you today. Make sure you scroll down, check out the content we have out right now. All right.